You're all familiar with Toa Vakama. He was a great set, but what would this dude look like if he was supersized? What if he was 19 inches tall? Well, today, let's check out this absolute whale of a mock. Let's study its techniques and see what we can learn. Taking a look at how this is built might give you some ideas and inspiration for your next creation. Let's check it out. This is Vakama, King of the Horde. It's built by Benjamin Anderson. Look at this! Huge, imposing, and cool as all get out. Vakama has never looked better. This creation was built for Ron Folker's Bionicle What If contest. The premise was to simply take something from the Bionicle universe and change it. So Benjamin Anderson, of course, took the set Vakama Hordika, and he looked towards the lore for the character. Vakama and his team were mutated by Hordika venom, and it turned them into these beast-like creatures. This new half-beast, half-Toa form, they had to fight to keep their primal rage in check, and they had to fight to stop that mutation from becoming permanent. So Ben Anderson imagines what Vakama might have looked like if he was fully corrupted by that Hordika venom. And this is a sick idea. To see this fallen hero turned into a towering evil titan, it's so deliciously fun. I adore the way that this head design has been made, taking that base Vakama mask and adding on to it. The back here has been expanded with the original mask from Vakama. It's almost poetic, isn't it? And this new jaw design is made with the help of a dark red Rakshi head. Who would have thought that these pieces would interface with each other so perfectly? Even down to some of the textures and patterns on these pieces. They share that same kind of curved line motif. They all flow into each other so seamlessly, the shaping is on point. This is some mastercraft work right here. Turning the creation around, we can see a little bit of a hunch. Hey, every good villain needs a hunch. And using this piece to accomplish that was wise. This element appears in various Technic sets, like this blue crane. This piece is some of the little grabbers right here. There's so many modern Technic sets where the pieces look incredible on a Bionicle. You'll also notice a couple tires stuffed into the interior of the torso. I don't recognize the exact tire that's been used here, but whatever tire it is, it's been flipped inside out. It's rubber, it's easy enough to do that. Using this is a really awesome way to fill in space and cover up any unsightly gaps. Next time you make a large Titan, maybe you need to get some tires, and you could do the same thing. The incredible shaping continues. Like here, when we look at Vakama's left shoulder. Stuffed in here is Darth Vader's mask. Well, his mask from behind. That is such a nice part use. Good idea. The other shoulder also stuffs in this body section of a Visorak. You know, this one. It's great that this piece looks good as just, typical armor plating, but I like the fact that it's also got that Ratuka spinner up top. It is a different place to put it, especially when the original set had that spinner on his back. But I actually kind of like that change. In this new evil form, he's become twisted and mutated. So much so that the location of things is starting to shift and move. And it's done so in a very unnatural way. Below this is a lovely cage of dark red mechanical arms, the same ones that appeared on some of the minifigure versions of the Toa Anika. It's cute that these little Zamaspheres are then stored inside it. These pieces appeared in so many sets, Bionicle and Hero Factory. To me, these feel like exposed veins that are popping out of his body. It's perhaps like a part of the character's mutation. The poison in his bloodstream is so intense that you can literally see it from the outside. That's gross. Transitioning a little further down to the waist. There is some excellent gradient work going on right here. You'll notice the inclusion of these Kalma armor pieces, the same ones that came on this Baraki set. Now these elements naturally have this lovely dark red and black marbled color scheme, and Benjamin Anderson has elegantly used them to bridge the dark red into the black. using these pieces to transition the entire color scheme. That's smart. And I like too that this is also a little bit symbolic. It represents the darkness like rising up in his body. It's a physical manifestation of his corruption. How clever. Back to the waist. You might have noticed this piece on the crotch. It's Old Mate Core Hunter's mask. That fits in really well, doesn't it? Just next door to these are some additional pistons. These pieces appear in a few kind of older LEGO sets, much like this awesome Clone Wars Separatist cannon. Yeah, taking this piece, which is right here on this set, and incorporating it here, it's a great way to inject that little hint of mechanical into this biomechanical creature. You'll also see some of these bar elements extending down from inside the piece, and they link up into the gap just below right here. This gap is actually the middle section of this Rakshi piece, the same one that goes on its spine. Man, look at Benjamin Anderson go, filling in every little nook and cranny. The Rakshi spine has been placed there so that it can interface with the piston. He's thinking ahead. That piece isn't just there to look pretty, no, it has a larger purpose that interfaces with other pieces. This man knows what he's doing. Moving down the waist into the legs. It's easy to miss it, but there is this Rituka ripcord right here. I have never seen anyone use this piece like this, hiding the ripcord element underneath a bunch of other parts, and just allowing you to only focus on the base. What a stroke of genius. Below this, we have some of these 4x4 trans green dishes. Dish elements are such a beautiful but underrated piece. They're one of the best pieces that you can use on a Bionicle. Because look at it. The smooth appearance of this piece works so well to help shape that limb. The element rounds off the leg design in such an aesthetically pleasing way. And there's one more of these pieces right here in the center of the torso. Taking the same piece and placing it on different sections of a mock, it's a great way to create a bit of visual unity. It ties the whole creation together. Oh, actually, let's head to the back of the torso. This sea of spines and spikes, it looks dope. Almost like his ribcage has been ripped out of his back, flipped around, and stuck back on. It's gnarly. Now, these pieces are all just different types of Visorak fangs. And spamming them in this way, it feels so unsettling. It's gross. But we are making an evil, corrupted character. So any kind of gross details that you can put in here, well, it's gonna fit right in. You can afford to get a little creepy when you're building something like this. I almost missed this arm design, but let's talk about it. We were talking a little bit before about spamming pieces, and the same is happening here. Jala Anaika's rubber mask is being mixed in with a few of these Paraka Hakan masks, specifically the ones that came on the top of the canister. If you look closely, you'll also see some silver flex tube linking it all together. But yet the repetition of these parts looks so sick. And having these Zamaspheres tucked in as well? Oh mate. These lovely marbled Zamaspheres, they appeared in some of the fire villains from Hero Factory, like Drilldozer. To me, they kind of imply the sense of fire traveling down through the body and then erupting out into this flame weapon. That's pretty sick. And let's finish off with the legs. Giving him a Digigrade leg design was a great choice. It reminds me of certain depictions of the devil, where he has legs that look exactly like this. How appropriate for a very corrupted character. A character that's fallen from grace. I do also want to point out the custom Visorak down the bottom. From a presentation point of view, this is such a nice touch. Having Vakama surrounded by his disciples, his minions, his own little horde. That's just the cherry on top. Seeing all this together presented like this at Brick Fair, Virginia, it looked so visually impressive. And there is something nice about contrasting the blue and the brown with the black and the red. They pair well together. Ben Anderson knows how to display his creations to create a real showstopper. I'll leave you with a few more angles and images of this mock. It's an absolute beast. How fun is it to make a kind of what-if concept like this? To step into your own imagination and come up with some sort of crazy idea that would never be in the story, but it's fun to think about. And it's even more fun when you can actually bring it to life. Perhaps this is your sign to do the exact same thing. What kind of fun what-if concepts could you build in your next mock? So thank you, Ben Anderson, for making such a good creation. It was an absolute pleasure to see this at Brick Fair. So be sure to take a look at the links below and go follow Ben Anderson. I'll have links to all of his stuff right there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy building, and bye for now. There's so many Bens in the Bionicle community.